Hello there. We are getting started at a different time, different day today. It is Thursday, and I am so excited because I'm going to be bringing on Kelly. Kelly, there you are. Come join us. Kelly was one of our amazing doctoral students, and we're going to add her on here. She did a full project here as a student, and I just had to share it with the world. It was so awesome. So, Kelly, yay!
Hello. It's so good to see you,
Hi.
Julie.
Hi, Kelly. Great to see you. I see several of your classmates have joined us too. I see Nicole here and Holly. Hey.
Yes.
And Amy is on. She says, "Yay, Kelly.
Yes, that's
You're
my CI.
famous." um, so, anyway, I'm so excited. I actually brought out a copy of it because we have
Oh,
these
awesome.
printed out now, nice and like glossy at our clinic. And this is a project that you did for us, and it has been so inspiring for people. And I remember when you presented it to our staff, everybody was like, can we send this to everybody? Can we print it out for everybody? It's so inspiring. By the way, you're getting a lot of like kudos here.
I know,
Holly
I love
says,
seeing the
go
comments.
Kelly. Nicole, way to go, Kelly. Anyway, you're so popular. So I would love for you to share a little bit about the background. I posted in a post earlier today a little kind of snapshot of this so people could
Yeah.
see it. But tell me like what inspired you, and I know your CI, Brittany Kim, also
Yeah.
worked on this. What inspired you to do this and to share this with people?
Yeah. So basically, well, first of all, it was just like an absolute privilege to be able to spend my 8-week rotation at Reactive. I had an absolute blast. I miss it so much. I'm like, can I go back? And so basically, how the project got started was me and my CI, Brittany. We see a lot of patients with Parkinson's, and Julie, like a large percentage of your patient population is patients with Parkinson's disease. And we basically had this one patient who just blew our minds in terms of how well he was doing, basically without us. He was someone who we were seeing in 2019, or you were seeing in 2019. And then, like many patients, when the pandemic hit, wasn't able to come to physical therapy. And so he came back in 2021, and he had some specific balance goals he wanted to meet. He was having a few falls. And we do like some functional outcome measures, and they're better than they were when we saw him in 2019. And so we haven't seen him in a year, and we're like, well, wait a second, how is like your tug time like 33% better? We were like, that just doesn't check out. Like, you haven't been having physical therapy. What have you been doing over the past year? What's your secret? Because we want all our patients to be like this, where they don't need us every day. And basically his secret was exercise. And so from that, we were like, okay, this would be a great thing to be able to share with other patients, with other therapists, showing this case study of how his daily exercise is what enabled him to be so fine on his own. And even though he was doing great, he had then some specific balance goals, which meant, okay, you should come to PT. But we only needed like 5 visits with him because we got to be so specific in our balance training. It wasn't like he was deconditioned. We didn't need to work on cardiovascular training. We didn't need to work on general strengthening. He had done that with his exercise program. And so it only took 5 visits. His balance, skyrocketed. And now he really doesn't need us. He's going to come in basically for about monthly check-ins just to maintain his function, make sure that like our measures are looking good. But he's on his own, just killing it out there. So yeah, that was basically, he was the inspiration behind the project.
And that is inspiring, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm inspired anytime when you're like, you don't need me for PT. You're
Yeah.
killing it on your own. And that's really inspiring that over the pandemic, when many of us had a decline in all of our abilities,
Totally.
and struggled maybe with exercise or being motivated. And like Barbara is saying too right now, she's saying that is so amazing. It
Yeah.
really truly is amazing. And it's like exercise is medicine
Yeah.
for him. And I love it. So you put this together, and by the way, it's really beautiful. I don't know if everybody can see it, but it's just like visually beautiful. You did such an amazing job with
Thank
this.
you.
But he incorporated some specific exercise too.
Yes.
So you mentioned he had cardiovascular exercise, some of the Parkinson wellness recovery, the power moves, and a strengthening program. And these were things that had been taught to him or he used in PT before, and he just kept going.
Exactly. So I think PT is such, I mean, and just therapy in general, whether it's PT, OT, but basically having that in 2019, he was able to develop this exercise program with his therapist. It wasn't like he just, this came out of, nowhere and was like, oh, here's this exercise program. He developed this with Brittany and then was able, though he didn't need Brittany every day to do it, he was able to do it on his own. And so I think that's the great thing about reactive and just therapy in general is we give you the tools to be able to be successful on your own. And so if you're feeling overwhelmed, you're like, well, how did he do this? How is he doing this on his own? That's why, we kind of planned this live meeting during July, the Christmas in July sale. We have this amazing exercise classes, and I can let you go into that. But that can be a great resource for people if they don't feel like they can do this on their own yet. Having that group environment could be a really good option.
Yeah, because that's something that really stands out to me as I was reading about him. And I know we called him Carl, and that's not his real name. So
yeah,
all the private information is protected here. But he's 85. So he's, a little older than I am. And it sounds like he had some of this ability to really kind of implement on his own and keep going, right?
Exactly.
And maybe that's not everybody, right?
Exactly.
Maybe other people, like me personally, I just started working with a personal trainer, and it's a dream come true.
Yeah,
because I was not very motivated.
Yeah.
So that is one of the things to me that's like a dream and what we've been able to do. And you were a part of Reactive and our wellness classes and all of that is to be able to support people on that journey. Exactly. But again, I know I'm a PT and I'm biased for PT, but I am most excited when people are doing things, then they don't need me anymore.
Exactly. Well, that's the ultimate, your job satisfaction is when you see someone and they're doing so well, you're like, wait, you don't need to see me. You have all the tools. You're doing an awesome job. That's the ultimate compliment as you're doing your job as a PT.
Yeah, exactly. And so he did a range of things. So this is the back page also.
Yes.
So pretty. And so he had this routine. He had a daily walking routine.
Yep.
He had a very specific, I don't know if he was an engineer, but he sounds very specific, 10 reps of the different power moves.
Very exact.
Very exact. I love it. And specific strengthening exercise. How much was this on a daily basis? Was it about an hour a day, or what do you think?
Yeah. So, the cardiovascular exercise itself was about 25 to 30 minutes. And then I would say the power moves and strengthening exercise was then probably another 20 to 30 minutes. So I would say less than an hour though. He was able to get it all done. And the great thing about these different exercises is you don't have to do it all at once. You could go for a 15-minute walk in the morning and then a 15-minute walk in the evening. That's just as good as doing a 30-minute walk all in one bout. So you can spread it throughout your day so it doesn't feel as overwhelming.
Yeah, I love that. And I know I have a lot of patients that do that as well. I do it. I got my weights actually sitting right next to me because I was like, I'm going to bust out a few reps after my Instagram live today. So he had been doing this. He came back. He was better than ever, which is always amazing. And I love too a very, very short concentrated bout of therapy to get him just fine tune his balance with some great results as far as his stepping responses.
Well, I think the reason that we were so successful in such a short amount of time is we got to really focus on the balance training. Like I said, because he was keeping up with his daily exercise, it wasn't like we had to go back to square one and work on those exercises. We could really focus. And for him, what he really needed, and from, doing the mini best, which is a great functional outcome measure, we were like, okay, you really need to work on knowing where you are in space to balance. And then also, how can you recover your balance if you have a loss of balance? And so for us, working on, you know, being on a wedge with the eyes closed, that sensory orientation, and then working on those big posterior stepping reactions, things like that. We were able to do that. And really, since we could just kind of focus on that for those 5 sessions, it's not like we had to do anything else. We got to really focus on exactly what he needed. And that's why then we tested in 5 sessions later and we're like, wait, you can now literally be with your eyes closed on an incline for 30 seconds, no big deal. And he went from, you know, if he was caught off balance and was falling backwards, you would really need to catch him. He went then to taking this huge, large step and just being like, yep, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I think because that foundation of his, you know, cardiovascular exercise, his power moves, his strengthening, we then got to be so specific in our balance training and really just focus on that. And the great thing is then we can add some of these balance exercises to his home program. So his plan was to then add some of this to his home program, so that he wouldn't have to like come in again needing like, you know, and then maybe he'll need something different in the future, but basically adding that kind of to his repertoire of exercises.
Yeah. So now it's like he can prevent.
Exactly.
Actually, which is such a dream. Yeah, I saw this and I love the visual of it, the improvement in his time dip and go.
Yep.
And he could only stand on foam for 5 seconds initially. So
yeah,
definitely a deficit there, but it sounds like you were able to fine tune it to where 30 seconds, no problem.
Exactly.
Which is amazing and really, really awesome. And, you know, you mentioned this about Carl. He was able to really stick with a plan over a pandemic. Many of us have not. And I'm really curious from your standpoint, you know, we have a lot of options to help people kind of get that plan, stick with that plan that aren't PT, right? So actually Barbara joined us. She's one of our personal trainers.
Yes, Barbara.
And I'm curious what you learned while you were at Reactive about that incorporation of a wellness program, of group classes, online, in person, personal training. What really struck you?
I mean, for me, what struck me is because, I mean, we had a lot, I got to teach some of the wellness classes, and it was some of my patients that I got to see in PT that would be in those wellness classes, and seeing the big difference in the, like from the start of the wellness class session to the end in their overall mood, their just like their strength and confidence about themselves seemed to go up so much from these wellness classes. And so for me, what I love about the wellness classes is it's not therapy every day, it's physical activity every day. That's the big like point I really wanted to get across with this project, was you don't need therapy every day, but you do need daily exercise. And so the wellness classes can be a great option for you if you're like, hey, like, you know, Carl was able to do this on his own, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Having this sense of community at Reactive where you can go to these wellness classes, you guys have so many different options. I got to teach 2 different classes, but there's, you know, a multitude of different options and different, you know, intensity levels. So it's really nice that you go from levels 1 through 3. So you can maybe start and keep progressing. There's like a boxing specific one. There's one that's more yoga specific. So there's a lot of good different options in what you can get, and you can kind of figure out, what do I like? What do I not like? And then base your program based on that. So I think just having the access to the wellness classes, it's, you know, it's, you can't measure the like amount of success that you can have from it, because it's getting you that daily exercise. It's holding you accountable, which is the great thing.
Yeah. And I think that's what so many of us need, myself very much, is I need to be held accountable. I do a lot better in a group. I push myself a little harder. I have more fun. Give me some music, you know, give me something fun to do.
Pump up the music and that sense of community. I think that's also something that a lot of us lacked throughout the pandemic, was like this sense of community. We couldn't hang out with people, and it's just like, we're humans. That's what we do, is connect with other humans. So I think having the exercise classes, like one of my favorite things about the exercise classes was like at the end of the class, you know, people would be like, oh, like, hey, Carl, not Carl, but like they would, like, you know, they'd be asking, even if it was over Zoom, they still get to know each other now. And as we transition back to, you know, in person, it's awesome, just the effects that you can have from these wellness classes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the community aspect. I love the checking in. And I love, as you said, you had many patients and then you would see them in class.
Exactly.
And what I love is that we get to talk to each other. And it's, you know, it's not like you're flying solo in a class with a random person instructing you,
Yeah.
but you're working with a team of our PTs, our OTs, our psychologists, our personal trainers, and we're all, you know, working together to help, help somebody
It's such
meet
a
those
holistic
goals.
training approach, and that's really what you need, is like you want to feel like you're part of a team, and you know, it's not just, oh, this is my therapist and that's it. Like, no, we have more than just that. You know, we offer so much more. We might be like, you know, we're a physical therapy clinic, but there's so much more than just that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now, you mentioned, or you alluded to our Christmas in July,
Yes.
which is like, we don't normally do promotions for our wellness pieces. We do like a Cyber Monday sale, but something that a lot of people have been coming to us asking about: how do we get involved? How do we do this? How do we do it regularly? So our team put together a way to make it a little more accessible for people to be able to save and join it for the year, to make that commitment. And actually, Bianca was just out here doing one of our fitness assessments. So when people start in our program, they do an assessment. They do it every 6 months. And oh my gosh, it was amazing, because this woman was so much better. And again, she's only been exercising. So Bianca was able to do a bunch of fitness measures, and she, like, all of her balance ones improved, her walking improved. It was pretty phenomenal.
And I think being able to do those measures, it's kind of like a source of motivation. You're like, how can I beat my time? How can I beat that? So I think it's great that Reactive, when you come in, you don't just come in and start the classes. You're like, hey, let's get like a baseline measure. So let's prove to you. It's not like we're just saying like, oh, go exercise. We're going to prove to you that exercise, it does what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Because I want evidence. I want data.
I want all the evidence.
And people need that. It's very motivating.
Oh,
Very motivating. So we're doing this sale. It's actually only for the next 2 days. And we're
get in on it, everyone.
I know. Go tell everybody, Kelly. We're doing it. It's for all people with neurologic disorders. It's for our online classes. It's $200 off for the year. Which is a lot. We also have a deal for our personal training. So our trainers have been working with people across the country, which is really cool, because I don't know if you knew this, Kelly, but you probably did. We can't provide physical therapy across the country unless we have a license in every state.
Yeah, the laws.
And I get 5 or 6 emails a week from other people out of state, and I'm constantly looking for my colleagues in other states. But from our wellness classes, our personal trainers, their license, their certification's not restricted. They can work with anybody anywhere. So all of our expertise, like, we could take it. You know, we have people in Louisiana, we have people in Texas, we have people in New York joining in, because there's not a lot of places to exercise that are neuro-specific, that understand MS and stroke and brain injury and concussion and dystonia. Like, even all of the rare disorders, our fitness team does. It's pretty awesome.
That's the thing about Reactive, is you're not just going to an exercise class, you're going to an exercise class that's tailored to you specifically. So knowing that you're getting that for your diagnosis, you're not just going general. They're really making sure that these exercise classes are tailored to you. It's like what we say in PT is every patient's different. We treat every patient differently. Like, we have a very individualized patient approach. And so I think these classes, they do the same, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. I'm really proud of that. And it's so cool that you've seen that as well, being a part of it.
Totally. No, I've been to exercise classes at different facilities, and it's different at Reactive. It's awesome. And they really make sure that you're getting what you signed up for, that you're getting what you really want out of it.
Yeah. I should hire you to do commercials for us.
I'll do some marketing.
Time. So thank you for that. But for sure, there's actually a link in our bio. If you're interested in this, if you have questions about it, we want to help connect people to resources so that they can exercise the way that they need for their life. And and be like Carl. In fact,
like
he
Carl.
said, like, what's his secret? It was exercise. He didn't even need therapy. It was exercise, and it was the type of exercise that a PT prescribed for him that kept him going. And we just literally just want that for everybody, because this is this is a tearjerker story. I know, like, when we have been talking about it, it's really inspiring, and we want that for everyone. So now through July 10th, we have that sale. You can check it out. You can learn more. Email me, send me a direct message. And also, if you're a therapist and you want to put together, I love these stories. And we've actually talked about putting several of them together, about kind of like how I did it, you know, how I'm beating Parkinson's, how I'm beating dystonia. I'd be happy to send this to you. So just send me a direct message, and we can send you the PDF. Make this into your own story and share it with other patients, because I think it's very powerful to hear stories, right? And to know that there's hope for being able to control and manage your symptoms of a neurologic disorder on your own without going to therapy forever.
Yeah, I think it's so much more personal to hear an actual patient story than just to be like, you know, a bunch of facts spitted out at you and just be like, oh, like this percent of this. It's like, no, this is Carl, and like, look at him. This is all about Carl, and look at his journey. This could be your journey too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Kelly, I want to thank you so much, first, for being at Reactive as a student.
You don't have to thank me.
No, it's a gift. We have the best students in the world, and it's so awesome when you're here. We miss you.
I miss you guys. I miss you all so much. It's like, oh, I'm like, I want to come back.
Yeah, it's like kind of quiet. We're like, because we went from, you know, many students to none really quick. And so we miss you. We thank you for what you brought to our team so much.
Well, thank you so much for everything. Each and every one of you taught me so much. I know I'm a better clinician because of my past 8 weeks. It's gonna just it was a game changer. It absolutely was amazing. And I miss it, but I'm glad that, like, at least, you know, this project can live on and hopefully serve as like an inspiration to others. And like you said, like, we can make projects like this for so many different, like Parkinson's today, but let's make one for dystonia. Let's make one for MS, you know, like, let's just keep it going, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you set the stage and you set the bar high. So thank you again. And thanks for coming on in the midst of being back in classes and stuff like that.
Highlight of my day. My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, Kelly, have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
You too, Julie. Bye.
Bye.